Hey, how's everyone doing? It's June 2nd, 2014. The year is already halfway gone, halfway in progress as and going. Time is moving quickly, don't you think, folks? Do any of you other folks experience that time has accelerated compared to the way it used to be? I don't know. Took a couple days to not make a video. Sometimes I feel like I need to pull back and take a break, making these videos is diary like. It is risky. It is, because I'm speaking very nakedly to anyone that decides to watch. And there's all kinds of people in this world, and everyone sees it the way they see it. And so I continue to encounter folks who will watch my videos, and it'll strike things. So sometimes I just pull back, because I insist on seeing the world like this, that we all see the world that we see it. My version isn't better than yours. Yours isn't better than mine. But more importantly, yours is not more legitimate than mine. And I'll just always rail at people that want to have, you can find fault with me. You can criticize me, every time I get on, the more I expose myself, the more, I'm potentially making myself a target for folks that just want to be mean or want to criticize. That's fine, because that's just the nature of life. If I breathe and do anything, someone can criticize it. And my response is, so what? So what? If that's what you think, it's obviously different from what I think. And no one's been able to come up with some sort of reason why I should think otherwise, why I should care that someone, thinks something about me that is more than likely just a perception. These things have been in my mind among other things, and it was also prompted by a nice visit I had with a friend yesterday. I have some friends I hadn't seen in a while. I may talk about music. I probably will, but because this is my Dear Diary, I'm going to talk about what's on my mind. It's the first one of June. Just so that you folks that are maybe not interested in hearing about what Dereck's life is like, you can leave now. And seriously, I got to keep saying it. The way I'm talking, I'm not being a prick or a dick. I'm being real honest. And just, it seems that great numbers of people just are not equipped to handle honesty from others. What brings it yesterday, I imagine that most cities have this, a day in the summer where you have art in the park or restaurants in the park. And yesterday, the last couple of days in Omaha, was Taste of Omaha. It's an annual event, big family event. There's live music and food vendors and other kind of vendors set up in booths down in the park. Well, some good friends of mine since high school, they have a cover band called the Clock Stoppers, and they just play all that old classic rock, including Sweet Home Alabama, that I'm absolutely sick of. I played with them last year. I actually sat in on the drums for them last year. But they were playing, and the original drummer of the band, who I replaced for one show, quit the band, but he and his family were there. And I hadn't seen Craig and Jeannie and Zach in a while. I'm really close to them, but we're really different. They're really, 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 really regular Americans. They watch a lot of TV and don't do nothing. They're not on social media. They don't interact with Facebook. They don't let their kid do it. That's fine if that's what they want to do. Excuse me, but it was nice to catch up with my friends, the Keitels. I hadn't talked to them in over a year. And the reason why this comes up is because Jeannie is very protective of her son and stopped allowing Craig, my friend Zach, to bring his son Zach over to my house. They're white, and she's concerned about the neighborhood. That came up yesterday, talking about politics and the news in general, which is just horrific. It's just to me absolutely flabbergasting how people just go on like nothing is out of the order. I guess it's just too much for people to believe, and they're just hanging onto the scraps of normality until it completely falls apart. Jeannie was asking me, isn't it just awful down there where you live? And I said, that's just a perception, Life is perception, Your perception may have some accuracy to it, but it's not the whole story, And that was what I was telling her. It's like, I love my neighborhood. I hear shooting down here, but it's not like your perception is a perception. It's wrong. You're not down here, and so you have a cartoon image, It's and on top of that, I just laid it out because she's a good friend of mine. You're one of those white people that has this idea that everyone knows what everyone else is thinking, like the whole black community is supposed to just snap to and just step in line with the rest of the community, whereas the larger community never welcomed the black community. We're talking history now, when blacks started to migrate to the north and get jobs and stuff. Grudgingly, people were given jobs, and next thing you know, you have a camp of black people, who never were welcomed. And this is just not understood, by the city, by city leaders, by a lot of people that are outside of the experience in general. And it's just a shame that, you have this standoff, where people on the one side are saying, well, you people don't appreciate what you got, and you don't raise yourself up by the bootstraps. And then there's another camp that's saying, well, we were never invited, and we were never welcomed. And every time you turn around, the society you're telling us to make ourselves a part of is constantly got a boot in our ass, making life harder for us. Well documented, the double standards that go for whites versus non-whites. It's just, and it's ongoing. So it's a good conversation to have with my friends, Jeannie and her husband, actually. And for a time, it's their son, Zach. He's 17 now, young man now. And so this is great because I was just basically saying to them, that, I'm not holding my tongue with anybody. I'm saying what I think. I'll be 59 next month. I'm almost 60. What have I got to lose for offending someone's sense of what reality is? Their sense of reality has been offending mine my whole life. So I'm going to say what's on my mind, not with the idea of offending, but just being honest. I'm going to attempt to not speak with poison because that's a real natural thing for people to do, and I'm a human being, is to speak with poison, to strike out, to be disapproving, to want to put down. Recently I reconnected with some old punk rock friends, and one of them is a young lady named Lisa, who I never really knew, but she's been a long time fan, and I never noticed that she's deaf. She wears hearing aids in both ears. Now that we're friends on Facebook, I've been noticing how even as an adult, she suffers a lot of abuse because of her speech. She wears hearing aids, and so there's a no when she talks. Just a beautiful woman. So I wrote her a comment yesterday of support. I said, haters are empty husks pretending to still be human. And that's where I'm at. All the hating and killing going on. I say, again, this is just my perspective, but I say if you can kill that easy just because of a thought in your mind, how can you claim to still be connected to your heart? But that's just, again, my perspective and my opinion. That's what I see. That's what I wish for. Obviously, it's not a reality because people are killing like it's going out of style. You hear me? So I think I'll just not talk about music in this video. I've been listening to some records. Sid Arthur is still heavy on my playlist, and I just want you to know how much I like it. It's not, I don't want to debate my taste, It's not that I don't care about yours, but that's not really why I made these videos, is to strike up a dialogue. Yeah, I talk to people, but I just want to tell you what I like, It's obvious that we can have some differences of opinion. I'm really not interested. And that's not a bad thing, Okay, I see some guy driving up here, and I don't know what he's doing, and I'm going to sign off before it gets It's about 10 minutes, isn't it? Yep, there it is. Okay.